Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Marissa if you are new here, and today we're going back to our sewing roots. That is a good old-fashioned thrift flip. In this video I'm going to show you how I went from grandma tennis golf player to grandma's you better watch your grandsons, because I'ma take them for their trust fund money. If you are into transformations such as one that will be as night and day as this one will be, then be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss a video. I post on Sundays, sometimes randomly in the middle of the week. Without further ado, let's get into it. This set was actually made in Canada, which is always a very exciting find for me, and it seems to be that a lot of the pieces that I thrift are made in Canada, like this dress that I'm wearing. To begin with, I thought it would be easiest just picking another pleat. So the skirt started with 3. I made 4. Honestly, by the end of it, you couldn't even tell that there were 4 pleats, which was very exciting. I do have a really long rise, which means I'm hella straight. So whoever owned this before was a lot curvier than I was, or I am. Once the side seams were taken in, they were fitting straight, all that had to be done was just attaching the waistband and shortening it and hemming it. To the jacket. With the jacket, what you see here is I have just pinned it up to the desired length that I wanted it to be. I found that I had to take out about 12 centimeters along and just like all around in general. The sleeves I decided were a fine length. I wasn't about to touch them just because when you have orangutan arms like these, there's really not much you can do, and nothing is ever long enough. And I just ended up cropping it by 15 centimeters. So this particular jacket had a jump pleat in it, and I wanted to keep the jump pleat just because it allows for that added movement, so that when you're, moving around in a jacket, like the lining isn't gonna pull, stretch, it's not gonna rip or anything. And it'll be a lot more comfortable to move around, so I wanted to keep that in the jacket. Basically, what you do to make a jump pleat is you just add another centimeter of lining, but spoiler, I did it wrong. So this is what the fit is looking like right now. Pretty happy with it. I think I might like take it in a little bit more on like this side panel, just because it's kind of, I don't like how it's folding so much. But otherwise, I do like how it tapers in at the waist, but the length is good. Once I get the hem up, I think it'll work, but we'll figure out which side we have to give and take from, but 10 out of 10. I just took it in at, like, I think another centimeter, so it took out 2 centimeters. I don't really like how it's tapering so much, so I think what I'm gonna try and do is like take 2 centimeters off of this inside panel and then bring it in, because I do like where this style line is falling right now. Most of the bulk is coming from this side in here. I want it to still be boxy and a little bit more structured, so we're gonna try that. Okay, so now I've just taken in the side panel and it actually made a huge difference rather than just taking the like 2 off of each side, because you can see this side, it's like all like little, and then if you look at this side, it's a lot more streamlined. It still has like that boxy sort of silhouette to it. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the other side. Wasn't expecting to do so much internal work. It's just how it is. End up doing more than you expect. All I'm doing here is serging the lining, and firsthand you get to see my carelessness. So I ended up having to rethread my serger because I just have it sit on my floor and it's under and by all of the cords that hang off of my desk. So in that, the thread pulled, wrapped around, did what it did. The thread ended up breaking. This machine, I find, is actually fairly easy to rethread, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but save yourself the headache and just check your threads to make sure they're all actually pulling nicely and you're not just rushing to get through it and to get it done. I didn't think you needed to see me sew the jump pleat 3 times, so I just put it here once because it literally looks the same. So this is where I'm at right now, just finishing up the hem and the facing piece. I did try to do a jump pleat, but I have forgotten how to. So it took me 3 tries to do it, and it still didn't end up working out. The first time I didn't cut off enough, second time I didn't cut off enough, third time I cut off too much. So basically that just means there isn't a jump pleat. It ended up being a lot shorter under this arm, which, like, at this point I just have to roll under more of the hem, which isn't the worst. It's just, it won't have that extra factor of a jump pleat. Other than that, I'm actually pretty happy with how it's turning out right now. So we'll be back when it's done. Now I have the hem all finished. I just have to press where these pins are. I just have to press it down so that it stays down and doesn't roll up and look super gross. So the button back on, and where like the little corners are, or like didn't catch with the sewing machine, I'm doing a fair amount of hand stitching. We're gonna move on to that and then we'll be done. And then I think after I like press it down and everything, I'm gonna call it a day, and tomorrow we will be back with her all styled. Very, very exciting. So I actually wasn't gonna show you the top because I was gonna be all like, surprise, 3 pieces, but so really what I only ended up filming is kind of boring, but it's still part of the process. So all you're seeing is me just marking the pleats and the darts and taking it off of the form. So I actually used to do a lot of draping when I first started sewing. Like literally everything I made, I did use like some garments just to figure out like how to do a sleeve or how to do a collar and stuff like that. but for the most part, it was all just on the dress form that I had. So making this top was like another back to the roots or whatever before I started going to school. So yeah, I was very, I was not convinced that this was actually gonna turn out well, just because what I didn't show, every time I held it up to me, I didn't know where it was supposed to sit because this dress form obviously isn't my body. It looked so bad. Like, it looked so bad. I had such low expectations every single time I took it off the form, put it back on the form, put it through the sewing machine, did something. My expectations went from like no expectations to like the bar wasn't even on the floor. We just threw out the bar. There's nothing. For the closure on the top, I decided to do a lacing. It was kind of like a last minute sort of, I really don't have any other options. So I was like, how do we solve this problem? Lacing. Easy. Problem solved. So when I open up buttonholes, I just use my seam ripper because it's the best tool that I found to use rather than using scissors or anything else. But you do have to be careful because sometimes if your seam ripper kind of gets stuck, it just runs away and you end up ripping up the buttonhole, which isn't the end of the world because you can just stitch it back up, but it's also just in general never a good thing. So definitely want to be careful and watch out for that. So at this point, the top, she was all ready to be laced up and put on. This portion of the video, I didn't change the angle, so here's just a little bit of audio of my general excitement. So excited! Could reveal, I don't know. It could be incredibly disappointing, but it could also be very exciting. It could be a mixture. I'm expecting a mixture, but we'll see you soon. Overall, I'm really excited and really happy with how it turned out. It was, in some ways, better than I could have imagined, but also at the same time, it was pretty much exactly what I was going for. I do, however, closing out, want to say that as I am very passionate about sustainability and ethics in fashion, I think it's also important to note just that when it comes to thrifting, that there's ethics involved in that as well. People, when they think sustainability, they kind of stop at thrifting, which on Instagram, that curly top, she talked about it in one of her videos, how sustainability goes further than just thrifting. It does ultimately begin with buying less, loving what you have, and mending what you already own. Yeah, and just being mindful and aware of when you are thrifting, you are taking from people that are low income or have other varying aspects as to why they can't afford retail prices. Consignment, I would say, is kind of the better form of thrifting. I would say, yes, in my opinion, if you can afford to go to the mall and buy like $20 items there, then secondhand consignment stores that go through an extensive process in the selection of their garments and looking them over, making sure that they are of great quality, paying for that in a consignment store, I would say should be your first and initial go-to before you go to a thrift store. What I was constantly thinking about when I was doing this thrift flip was that I could be taking from someone that needed a suit for an interview. So not that you should feel guilty, but I think really where change starts and begins with is awareness. Not that you can't go to your Salvation Army, Goodwill, Value Village. I think it's just important to be aware as well as to why thrift stores exist in the first place, and that it is just going beyond a trend. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I will definitely be making more videos like this using what I already have. Otherwise, going to consignment stores. Yeah, there will definitely be more videos like this coming out, and I'm really excited about it because it's a different kind of challenge for me rather than having like complete and total control over the end result of a garment in like start to finish, but rather from finish to finish. Does that make sense? But yeah, thanks again for watching, and as always, stay sus, and we'll see you in the next video.